10 mind-blowing theories that will change your perception of the world. Number 1. Big Freeze. Big Freeze is the theory of the final state that our universe is heading toward. The universe has a limited supply of energy. According to this theory, when that energy finally runs out, the universe will devolve into a frozen state. The thermal energy produced by the motion of the particles will gradually wear out, which means that eventually this particle motion will slow down and presumably one day everything will stop. I mean, that's a theory. Number 2, solipsism, or solipsism. What is it? Solipsism. Solipsism is a philosophical theory which asserts that nothing exists but the individual's consciousness. At first, it seems silly, but if you think about it, it really is impossible to verify anything but your own consciousness. Okay. Like, that's literally true. There's no way to verify, like, that anything exists outside of your own mind, which kind of like fucks me up sometimes, because I understand how people become delusional, because literally the world is as you see it, and we all, make a choice to take other people's like emotions and like thoughts and feelings and everything into account. But some people just literally don't. Like the phrase, it's my world and I'm living in it. Like, some people like literally feel that way, like the world literally revolves around them, because in their mind they are the world. And like, people, like, we all have a choice to believe what we want to believe or feel we need to believe. But I'm going on a tangent, but the point is, this one is quite the theory, because that some days it's like, am I making all this up? It says to check this out. Take a moment to recall all the dreams that you have experienced in your life. Is it not possible that everything around you is nothing but an incredibly intricate dream? But you may say there are people and things around us that we cannot doubt, because we can hear, see, smell, taste, and feel them, right? Yes and no. People who take LSD, for example, say that, okay, blah, 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 blah. Says your dream can stimulate some sensations as well. After all, what you perceive is just a product of the information processing that takes place in different sections of your brain. As a result, which parts of existence can we not doubt? Probably none. Each of us can only be sure of their own thoughts. See, like, I was having a dream last night. And of course, as always, it felt so real. And it's like, the difference between a dream is that the consequences aren't the same, right? Like, in my dream, if I am shot at, I don't actually have to go to the hospital or actually pass away or anything like that. But at the same time, maybe that's just the case because I don't believe it to be true. Maybe in real life, if it happens, it's just because I thought it, which obviously doesn't make sense. So we're gonna move on, because girl, this raw garden is raw gardening today, child. Number 3, idealism. George Berkeley, the father of idealism, argued that everything exists as an idea in someone's mind. Berkeley discovered that some of his peers considered his theory to be stupid. The story goes that one of his opponents kicked a stone with his eyes closed and said, "I disprove if thus." The idea was that if the stone really only existed in his imagination, he could not have kicked it with his eyes closed. The way Berkeley refuted this is hard to understand, especially in these days. He argued that there was an omnipotent and omnipresent God who was able to see everything simultaneously. That one kind of reminds me of what I just said, but also was confusing, so we're going to move on. This one is Plato and Logos. Everybody has heard of Plato. He is one of the world's most famous philosophers. Like all philosophers, he had a few things to say about the nature of reality. He argued that beyond our perceived reality, there lies a world of perfect forms. Everything that we see is just a shade, an imitation of how things truly are. To learn more about these ideas, read about Plato's Allegory of the Cave, which is a sort of the Matrix in its ancient version. Plato argued that by studying philosophy, we have a chance to catch a glimpse of how things truly are and discovering the perfect forms of everything we perceive. In addition to this stunning statement, Plato, being a monist, said that everything is made of a single substance. This means, according to him, that everything from stars in the sky to the dust under your bed consists of the same basic material, but in a different form. With the discovery of atoms and molecules, it has been proven true to an extent. I was just about to say, girl, the stars are made of elements just like the clouds and me and you and this microphone. It's all just, the 50 or however many atoms there are, or however many elements there are. Everything is just a mix of the elements. I took astronomy and realized, essentially we're all just stardust. So he was kind of right. Number 5. Hold on, I want to talk about that one a little bit more. Because he said... Actually, no, nothing else to say. Number 5 is presentism. There is something that we perceive as a reality. Of course, we usually divide it into the past, present, and future. Presentism argues that the past and the future are imagined concepts, while only the present is real. In other words, today's breakfast and every word of this article will cease to exist after you finish reading it until you open it to read it again. The future is just as imaginary because the time cannot exist before and after it happened, as claimed by St. Augustine. That one has its points. It has a point in the sense that we can't exist in more than one moment at a time. So the past, we're just imagining it. Essentially, we're recalling it in our heads, but we're imagining it, we're not living it. And the future is the same thing, we're just imagining what's going to happen next. And all that you truly can live in is the present. Sorry for hitting the mic. So that one I understand. And I get, if you want to think about it that deeply, then it applies, technically, yes, you can only exist in one moment at a time. That sentence that I just said, I have to imagine it because I'm no longer living it. So, keep that in mind, child. I think about that sometimes, when I think about, emotions and, anxiety and things like that. It's sometimes I'm it's foolish to stress about things that have already happened. There's nothing I can do about it. And, I sit there and, go over the situations again in my head and, feel the dread and all that over again. And it's those emotions were real at the time, but that time has passed and I don't have to feel that anymore. But girl, I'm not there yet. I don't know if there's enough sertraline in the world, but we'll see. The next one states eternalism. Eternalism is the exact opposite of presentism. This is a philosophical theory that says that time is multi-layered. All layers of the time exist simultaneously, but the measurement is determined by the observer. What they see depends on which point they are looking at. Thus, dinosaurs, Queen Victoria, and Justin Bieber all exist simultaneously, but can only be observed from a specific location. If one takes this view of reality, then the future is hopeless and the deterministic free will is illusory. That one I kind of understand. It's literally the whole movies before, but like the alternate timelines, or it's the same timeline, just different things happening. Like you could argue that dinosaurs, which I still have a hard time believing, no shade, dinosaurs and Michael Jackson and me are like all living right now, just in different like planes or like point of view, because like it all goes like to the idea that like, is time linear? Again, when taking astronomy, like it really kind of fucked me up with the whole time situation. But like, you know, if you look at time as linear, then there is the past, present, and the future. But if it's like this thing that can be measured, or at least can be measured, you know, linearly, then it really is all about perspective. Like, that's not necessarily the past, that's just like out west or up north. Like we've decided that it's, oh, child. I don't know if we've decided, but like linear is like what we know, and what we like, okay, girl, we know Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 1954, 2020, like we decided that, hey, this is how time moves. This is how it moves. This is how it moves. This is how it feels. Sweet moments like this. This is how we grow. This is how we get. To come through. But no, it's like it could be linear or it could be space. You know, like time could be all about like where you are physically. So let me find out I'm a philosopher. Plato and Socrates better, you know, since they're still alive according to this theory, they better find a new job. Okay, the next one is the brain in a jar. The brain in a jar thought experiment is a question discussed by thinkers and scientists who, like most people, believe that one's understanding of reality depends solely on their subjective feelings. So, what is the essence of this thought experiment? Imagine that you are just a brain in a jar that is run by aliens or mad scientists. How would you know? And can you truly deny the possibility that this is your reality? This is a modern interpretation of Descartes. I gotta learn my philosophers. Evil demon problem. This thought experiment leads to the same conclusion. We cannot confirm the actual existence of anything except our consciousness. If this seems to sound reminiscent of the movie The Matrix, it is only because this idea was part of the very basis of the story. Unfortunately, in reality, we have no red pills. So I'm going to have to watch The Matrix, because this is the second reference to it. And all I know about The Matrix is that they have coats and sunglasses, and there's like green numbers on the cover. I think I might have watched it when I was like a wee boy, like no older than 6 years old. So I have no idea what it's about. And it keeps coming up, like in, not just in this article, but in general, like on my crosswords, they're always talking about some Neo. So I need to check. Oh my god, it's 11:04. I need to check The Matrix out. But again, this one, you know, they really can't confirm or deny anything. That's again why it's kind of like you just gotta kind of do what you can do. Girl, stop! You hear me recording? Stop! Be professional. So yeah, it's, you know, you can neither confirm nor deny. The next one. The next one is the multiverse theory. It says anyone who has not spent the last 10 years on a desert island has heard of the multiverse or parallel universes at least once. A quick editor's note. The editor being me, ASMR for hi. This article is from 2013, so this is literally 10 years old. So just keep that in mind. Can you please stop? Come here. Your nails are really loud, girl. I need you to be quiet. As many of us have seen parallel worlds, in theory, our worlds were very similar. Nope, our worlds very similar to ours, with little, or in some cases large, changes or differences. The multiverse theory speculates that there could exist an infinite number of these alternate realities. What's the point? In a parallel reality, you may be living in the opposite corner of the world or may have already died in a car crash. In another one, you might have never been born because your parents never met. The possibilities are endless. Marvel has a field day with this. Doctor Strange is his jam. And this one is an interesting theory, the multiverse theory. It's, what's to say it's impossible? But it's like, if that's the case, I'm still only me. Like, I'm not experiencing any other reality because I'm in this one. So if there are multiverses, I don't think it's in the way that, like, it's me in all the different ones. I think maybe there's like a version of me, but really I'm a version of them. If you catch my drift. Like, I am he and he is me, but me and he are we. You get me? Like, if that's the case, I'm not the dominant bitch. Like, I'm not the one, and all the other ones are like clones of me. Like, we're all equal. So if that's the case, then good for us. Hopefully one of them is having a better time than me, bitch. That's all I can say. And if that's the case, shout out to the versions of me or the people who are a similar version of me across the multiverses. Hopefully the Spider-Verses too. The next one is fictional realism. This is probably the most fascinating branch of the multiverse theory. Superman is real. Yes, some of you, not yes, yes, some of you would probably choose a different story for argument's sake. Harry Potter might be real too. This branch of the theory argues that given an infinite number of universes, everything must exist somewhere. So all of our favorite fiction and fantasy may be descriptive of an alternative universe, ones where all the right pieces came into place to make it happen. I mean, that goes just with the multiverse theory. If there's an unlimited amount, then that means like everything is possible. Not like anything, but everything. Like, there could be a multiverse where there's no other universes. That could be us, bitch. Like, there could be a multiverse where they got disconnected from the rest of them, so they don't know that there's a multiverse, but everybody else is kikiing because they know, girl, yeah, me too, universes down, is having a great time. They had a good date this weekend. Like, they might all be in touch, and we might be over here. Like, we might be on punishment, for all we know. So I don't know, but that, I see what they're saying, that, if that's the case, then Harry Potter is real, there's a wizard somewhere. I would even argue that he's real in this universe, because if it's, what's this, like, if it's happening, even though not on his own, like, he's doing the things with the help of Hollywood, right? But it's still happening. Like, if we're all perceiving he's flying on brooms, then why isn't he flying on brooms? Think about it. The last one is phenomenalism. Everyone is interested in what happens to things when we aren't looking at them. Scientists have carefully studied this problem, and some of them came to a conclusion: they disappear. Well, not quite like this. Phenomenalist philosophers believe that objects only exist as a phenomenon of consciousness. So your laptop is only here while you are aware of it, and because you believe in its existence. But when you turn away from it, it ceases to exist until you or someone else interacts with it. There is no existence without perception. This is the root of phenomenalism. Which of these? Okay, so the only thing about that one, sister, is, metacognition is something we develop in early childhood, and even better than that, permanence. It's called permanence. Permanence is what we develop, like, within the first year or so of life. Because like babies, for example, peekaboo gags them because they're like, bitch, you left. How do you still exist, right? But as we get older, we understand permanence. That like even though if I look away from something, it's still there. You know, once you're like a toddler, you understand that, hey, although I can see my sippy cup in the refrigerator, I know my sippy cup is in the refrigerator, right? When you're like an infant, you think that if you can't see something, it can no longer exist. Like if you're playing with a ball and then somebody took that ball away, you will just think that, oh girl, there was a ball before. I don't remember that. And you know, never happened. It's gone. So this is a good theory for an infant, to think that when you turn around, things no longer exist. When you're not using them, things no longer exist. And I get the theory that it's like, hey girl, everything is only here because we perceive it. But if that's the case, too many people have had to, like, too many people are perceiving it for it to be. But I get it. Everybody has a different perception, different perspective. So it kind of goes back to the first one. Like, if it's, I try to get all up in your mind, I feel like, you know, it's all up in our minds, you know, and it stops at a crime. Barely, but it does. Okay. And then the article finishes with the question. It says, which of these mind-blowing theories about the nature of reality appeal to you most of all? Imagine learning how to read. Share your thoughts in the comments below. So in that case, how would you guys do the same thing? So I'm asking you now, which of these mind-blowing theories appeal to you the most? I won't say they're all mind-blowing, but which one appeals to you the most? Which one do you believe in the most? Or if you have one, please leave it in the comments. If there's like a theory you've like heard of or have on your own or seen on Reddit or something, put it in the comments so we can gag. All right. Until next time.